All right, so here we go. We've got the women's game between New Brunswick and Northern Ontario.
And welcome tonight. This is brought to you by Bell Alliant. They're proud to be the official broadcaster for the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships from Kemptville and Wolfville, Kings County, Nova Scotia. Bell Alliant, there's more to love with fiber optic.
All right, and we're up for a very exciting game here, I think, Conrad. Of course, I'm Andrew Seymour. I'll be providing the color for you this evening, and with me here is Conrad McEachran. So he'll be doing your play-by-play as we get the warm-up slides here for teams New Brunswick and Team Northern Ontario.
And I'm not sure who won the hammer. I guess I think it's looks like New Brunswick getting set.
Yeah, looks like Northern Ontario blue will have hammer in the first end here.
Looks like she's calling for center guard to start, so she's getting into the mix right away.
Now, as we get going here, Conrad, I understand the ice has been quite quick so far in the first few draws.
Yeah, it's been running about 14.6 for center line. Well, that looks like it's over.
Oh, geez, I think we have a pick here already. That's a tough break on the first rock.
Yeah, that picked right out of her hand, Andrew. That's a nice little corner guard for Northern Ontario.
So we have Northern Ontario throwing the blue stones. That's Marion Clark you see in the hack. Sorry, that's Barbara Ward you see in the hack right now. She's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Her home curling club is Port Arthur Curling Club, and she's curled at a few previous Canadian curling events, including the Senior Curling Championship and the Masters, several other years. So she's got Northern Ontario off here with their first rock, and looks like they're going right into the rings.
Looks like T-line. And right away, New Brunswick's called for the hit.
Yeah, you don't want to take too many chances, Conrad, on the first end. You want to kind of move right into it.
No, you usually don't see them mixing it up too much in the first end. They like to keep it clean.
Yeah, here we go. It's still staying pretty straight there on the outside, but it looks like she's got it.
Yeah, a nice little roll over.
Very nice. All right. Right on top of the button almost. And we're going to see just another hit here. I think that's going to be that kind of end here for the first end, Conrad. Just it looks like after that pick in the first shot, maybe an exchange of rocks. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Both teams want to see what the ice is doing. So. A little bit light. A little board waiter.
Great shot. Look at that.
Yeah, perfect right on the nose.
So this would be Shawn Stubbert, the second for New Brunswick in the hack right now. Looks like she's throwing a hit for us. Shawn was born in St. John, New Brunswick. Curls are the Capital Winter Club, just like the entire New Brunswick team here. And she's no stranger to Canadian curling events. She's did the Canadian Senior Curling Championships in 05 and 06.
Yeah. I think she's going to roll it on this one, Andrew. Yeah. A little wide.
So it'll be interesting to see what Northern Ontario does with that front guard now.
Yeah, I think they're going to go to the open side again. Yeah, she's keeping the player away from the guard.
safe. Again, not uncommon in the first end of a curling game, especially a competitive tournament like this. People don't want to take too many chances in their first end.
Yeah, weight looks good. Okay, looks like that'll settle right in.
Beautiful.
Top 8.
Great weight.
And she'll call right away for the hit.
Now, Conrad, many experienced curlers would know this already about major championships, but some viewers may not know that, of course, all these games are timed. So time is of the essence for these teams, and they like to build up a bit of a cushion early on so that they're free to make more calls as the more adventurous calls as the game goes on.
Yeah, they have 30 minutes of thinking time, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you play and when you get up and down the ice quickly, you're right. You want to build up that time for later on in the game, where you may have to make tougher decisions, especially in a closer game. So we'll go right away to the open side again.
So that was Karen Saarimaki who threw the second stone for blue there. Another looks like another pick.
I think so.
Holy. All right. Well, anyway, that was Karen Saarimaki. Of course, she's from Geraldton, Ontario, and her home curling club is the Geraldton Curling Club in Ontario. And she, again, this is not her first time at a national championship. She's also done the Canadian Travelers Championship in 2012.
I think she's just called a draw to the top 4, top 8. Oh. Looks like a center guard.
We're right in there, eh?
Yep, just top 12.
Yep. And again, we're just seeing some safe play from Northern Ontario, just trying to keep the house clean at this stage.
I'd say with the 2 picks, they're just playing it a little safe. Who would blame them, really?
Now this is Bev Junnila throwing this hit for blue. She's the 3rd for Northern Ontario. She's born in Port Arthur, Ontario, and her home curling club, Port Arthur Curling Club. Another veteran of national curling. She's done Canadian Masters curling in 2012, 13, 14, and 15.
Looks like the call is just a hit.
We're not seeing a lot of action off the center line early on, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
No, it's certainly not a lot of curl so far. This looks like it's going to get a hit and a nice little roll inside.
Very nice. Oh, just a bit. That's not a bad place to finish up, Conrad?
That's really nice.
Yeah.
In behind the guard, I think you have to draw into it now.
Yeah. So red with a bit of an opportunity here. We'll see how Northern Ontario responds.
Looks like she's strolling around, trying to get the shot rocked. Looks a little light.
Yes, it does, Conrad. It does look light. Well, this will be tough for Ontario if that's the case.
So we're up to skip stones now.
We are. And so the New Brunswick skip, Isabel Yeamans. She's from Doketown, Ontario. Doketown, New Brunswick, and curls out of the Capital Winter Club along with the rest of her team. And what's the call here, Conrad?
She's coming around that guard again. I think she's trying to split the house and.
Oh, she's going around the blue guard. You think, or no? She's
no,
coming
just to the center. I think she's just drawn to the pin. Line looks good.
Looks like it might be a little quick. We'll see.
She's just a little heavy on that draw.
Yeah. Geez, I tell you, it's tough in the first end to get that weight down.
That's why you so often see these teams hitting in the first. It's so hard to get that draw in the first end.
So a big opportunity for Northern Ontario to maybe get shot rock here.
Line's good.
Looks like it's got plenty of weight.
Yeah, I think that looks a little fresh too. It's coming down nice now, though.
Yeah, it is. There you go. All right, Northern Ontario's got shot rock. This is going to make things a little more interesting for New Brunswick.
Yeah. I don't think they can get around that guard. I think they basically just have to come down around to it.
Now, keeping in mind that Northern Ontario has hammer here, could make for an interesting final shot if, depending on how New Brunswick plays this.
Well, I think the idea is to get around there and get shot rock. A freeze to that blue would
be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, they're right on it. So.
Doesn't seem to be curling as much.
Weight looks decent. Maybe a little more than she needed. So it looks like it's going to be a draw for 2.
Yes, that's right. Northern Ontario with an opportunity for 2 points in the first end here.
That's how quick this game can turn on you. It's you start off, you're looking pretty good, but that flipped in a hurry.
So Marion Clark throwing skip stone for Northern Ontario. She's from St. Charles, Ontario. Curls out of the Port Arthur Curling Club. And a ton of experience at the Canadian Masters level, 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
And Andrew, she looks a little heavy here too. I think it does. Might come down.
Will it be enough? I think it is.
Yeah, looks like 2.
2 blue. What an eventful first end. So, Conrad, I was thinking that maybe there's some expertise that we could offer doing the commentary this evening on this curling club and this ice. And, you and I both have a bit of experience here. And one of the things that's commonly said about curling here is the idea that coming in this direction that they're throwing, so on your even ends, is a bit of a downhill. Can you speak to that a little bit? It may be a superstition more than anything.
Yeah, I think we debate it all the time. Most of us think it's a little faster coming down this way than it is the other. I don't know. We time our rocks sometimes, and it's definitely a little quicker this way, I would say.
So it'll be interesting to see if that plays any games with these curlers as they throw their stones this end, if we see faster rocks, but only time will tell.
That's a nice one there.
It is a great
nice
guard.
Center guard. think she's indicated the corner here.
So throwing your lead stone for New Brunswick, this is Helen MacDonald. Helen MacDonald was born in Alberton, New Brunswick. It's a bit of a deceiving name for a town, but she curls with the Capital Winter Club with the rest of her team and has a ton of experience, again, in national championships, senior curling and masters curling, a number of different years.
Looks like she might be a little heavy on this corner guard.
It does look that way. There's that downhill effect, I think, Conrad.
It might be. She's going to set a second center guard. Oh, actually, I think she's decided to go right in the house. Line looks good on this.
It does, yeah.
Oh, it's
starting to curl a little now. Yeah. So maybe a little bit down. Yeah, just a little bit of rub on that front guard. Now, Conrad, what would you be doing in this situation? The experienced mate that you are in curling, what would your call be here if you're in New Brunswick?
I think I'd come around.
It looks as though she's going to the wing.
Yeah, she's going to set that center guard, or that corner guard again. Neither play is wrong. It's a preference. She looks a little heavy again. I think that's in the house.
Yeah, I think we may see that one go right through.
Yeah. It's tricky when you don't get those lead rocks set up, and it happens. You're not set up at lead, then a lot of times you'll see that team start to bail on an end pretty quick. And, I think it's going to depend on where she puts this rock, what happens.
Yeah, this will certainly be an interesting shot here for Northern Ontario. A big opportunity for them if they can execute.
Yeah, I think if they put it in the house, then she's going to have to start peeling these guards off. Looks good.
Yep. Looks like it's got a little more ice than the previous one there that crashed on the front guard.
There's an awful lot of curl here.
Jeez,
though.
yeah, look at it go.
It's on the front.
Yeah, there we go. Well, another great break for New Brunswick. We'll see if they can capitalize on it with their shot here.
And that staggers that guard a little bit. So.
Yeah, and we can see Isabel Yeamans moving up, looking at the peel here, trying to clear out some of that mess out front.
When they're not your rocks out front, you just get yourself in trouble if you start trying to play around them, especially if you can't get around them. I think
Now, Conrad, can you speak to why this rock is spinning so much? What's the strategy there?
When you're throwing takeouts, you put a little more rotation on it, keeps your rock a little straighter, keeps it from curling quite so much. The idea is so you can throw that weight and you don't have to worry about it either over curling or. The trick to that though is picking the right ice. And again, it's
you got to be on the broom, eh?
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
So that still leaves the two guards out front for.
That's right. So another opportunity for Northern Ontario to put one behind the guards here. Again,
that's curling a lot.
Yeah. Even the weight looks a little down on that one there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another peel for Isabel Yeamans.
Yes.
We'll see if we can get another look at that handle that we were talking about on the last shot here.
She could definitely get all three of these.
Yeah. Again, you can see that handle, how the unusual number of rotations on it. And that's, again, also I think to give it a bit of a pop when it comes off.
Absolutely. That should not exactly what you wanted, but certainly a little better to have something of your color out front.
Yeah, it's nice to have a rock in play for sure, and for New Brunswick this end that's been a bit of a struggle, so definitely to have something you can use later on at the end is good.
Yeah, we quite often when we're playing talk about make sure you control the front and not to let the other team control it. So it's good that I mean, it's not exactly what you wanted, but it's still a much better situation now. That one looks like it has lots of weight on it.
It does. I think we're going to have the opposite problem.
Red,
they might be on the red one. Yeah.
They're gonna.
Yeah, red's going to get a lucky bounce here.
Yeah.
So we have one red in, just about at the tee line there, on the very edge of the 12-foot.
You know, that's a great call. I'd go top 12 around that stagger. You know, it makes Northern Ontario have to start playing that.
You know, and this is sort of a role reversal from last end because we saw Blue sneak out with a couple points, and now it looks like Red's poised to do the same thing.
Yeah. Weight looks good on this. It's got to come down a little.
Might be a little quick. No?
No, it's going to be back 12, but back 8.
Yeah. But, you know, pretty well buried. It's in behind cover there. You're going to have to draw down to it.
Yeah, it gives Northern Ontario an out, though. It's you never want to be behind the tee line when you're drawing, and it's anywhere above the tee line in the top in the 4-foot is you're peeling guards again.
And there, you see the sweepers gesturing that the weight might be a little bit up on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd have to agree. I think it's definitely deep. It's coming down fast.
Yeah, it
though.
looks like it's slowing down. I've got a good time on it. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at this,
work.
Conrad. Fantastic
Very
shot.
nice. And they really have no choice but to follow it down.
Yeah, Northern Ontario, that was a pretty critical shot there for Northern Ontario to get themselves back in this one. So, sorry, you go ahead, Conrad.
No, so he's called the freeze. So they're just going to follow this rock down, and really they've been given no choice. That was a beautiful shot.
I was just going to say, I think the only person who I haven't mentioned yet so far is Hope Steeves throwing her mate stone. She's from Edinburgh, Scotland. I was saving the best for last. She's not a Canadian at all, so that's pretty cool, and also curls with the rest of her team out of Capital Winter Club in New Brunswick.
It's a little too much weight on that. Didn't get quite the curl with that weight. And
yeah, not on top of it the way she would wanted to have been.
So they're going to draw to the top of the button, and that's going to force New Brunswick to either peel or try to bump it back and set up a wall in the back of the 4-foot.
Lots of excitement in the house now, though, Conrad.
Yeah, lots of rocks in play. Line's good on this one.
Yeah, not shy on weight either.
I think the weight's pretty good.
Yeah, look at it go now.
Yeah, coming down really nice. Oh, that's a beauty.
And it looks like, would you say, just one blue, eh? Oh, it could be two.
I don't know. I would say it's pretty close between those two in the back. I don't think the the red in the back is, I think, out counting the top blue. Yeah.
Now, that's a very good point, Conrad. I was sort of taking for granted the fact that they weren't hitting the red as an indication of their confidence that blue was shot.
I think they are confident.
Right. But you're right. That's no question about it. That's going to be a measure, I think, afterwards.
It very well could be. So she's going to throw a little weight at this. Hoping to, I would say she's, I don't know if she can get to the nose of that or not. I didn't see the call for weight, but I would say it would be control or...
Looks like quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And look, you're going to see some curl here. We may, maybe on the front guard.
On that guard's not so bad, though. It should open it up a little bit. That still leaves that stagger out front.
That's right. Well, and it makes those rocks around the forefoot all the more interesting, Conrad, because both teams may have been counting on them being shot, but yeah, we're seeing them.
Yeah, they're looking now. I think
now.
Just looking at it, I think it's blue, but it's close.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's gonna. They're gonna have a discussion on which one they think is shot, and I mean, if they're shot, they'll probably throw up a guard, and if they don't think they're shot, they can always come back down. I mean, you tap that red 3 inches, and you're setting 3. Pretty well guarded too.
And how open would we say that red is? Oh, quite open.
Oh, I think they can get to it. I mean, they'd only go back 8, back 12 weight, but I think they can get to it, and I think that may be what they have decided to do. I didn't see the actual call.
So it does look like that's the call. They're taking quite a bit of ice because we've seen on this side of the ice in this direction quite a bit of curl coming from the outside to the center.
Yeah, and with the right weight, I mean, if they knock that back, like I said, 3 inches, they're sitting 3, and I don't know how you get them out of there.
So we'll get a time on this from hog line to hog line, and maybe have a sense of how it's doing when it gets down to this end.
Line's tight.
And curl, line is very tight.
They're on the front.
Yeah. Now look,
A little tap won't hurt, though.
Yeah, trying to shuffle things around a little.
Absolutely. It's still very well guarded. I'm not sure they can get the shot rock. They draw back to their back red, or even full 4 again. That's pretty hard to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason they can't get into that, they always have that run on the...
Well, I think this is the last stone, Conrad.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, they're drawing it.
You know, I had to double check myself. I just kind of flew by, and but here we are in the final stone of the second end, and we'll see how the measure works out here. But this could end up being this could be a shot for 2. They're calling T-line.
Yeah, weight looks good.
And not sweeping...
they got to go on this one.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's
going to be close. No, just a little short.
Just came up a little short.
So now we'll wait and see what their decision is about the 4-foot here. There could be a big point swing here.
I'm pretty sure that blue at the top isn't it? Although they're leaving it there, so maybe they're looking at all 3 of them.
Yeah, it does look that way. So we'll have a good look here. Got a beautiful camera angle here, so we can zoom right in and have a look for ourselves. But as you can see at home there, as in on your computer screens or in your TV screens, this is a very close call. Yeah, we're having I tend to think it's that blue at the back of the 12-footer, that's sort of towards the bottom of the screen.
All right, it's hard to tell though.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, there's another angle on it. That made it worse for me. I think it's blue.
Yeah. Now, but even then, and then it becomes a matter of whether it's one or two.
Yeah, but that top one, I mean, with the other angle we were looking at, it really looked like it was quite a bit. Yeah, right there, that looks quite a bit further back than. I mean, but again, camera angles can sometimes be a little deceiving. We're going to have a measure here, and we'll know for sure here in a minute.
Lots of excitement already in our second end here, Conrad.
Right. You don't normally get a measurement in your second end.
So normally, and what we'll kind of look for on TV here is we'll look to see a gesture, usually to indicate a rock is closer. They'll move it towards the center of the rings. So when you're watching at home, that's what we're looking for. So
it looks like they've got it set. So
yeah, looked at 2 of the 3 rocks.
Yeah, they're moving quite quickly. So
oh, geez.
It may be 2.
I think that blue at the top of the 4-foot was the closest rock.
Really?
Can you believe it? Yeah, that is well, it's a good thing we're not giving out points up here. Well, there you go. So 1 for blue, it looks like, in the second end.
Yeah, well, that was the rock we were definitely discounting. But so we just want to take a second and thank Bell Alliant TV1 again. Be sure to join Bell Alliant TV1's own Scott Squires as he chats with Saarimaki each Monday at 8:40 a.m. on the Sideline Scoop, and get up to date on Bell Alliance TV1's local sports coverage with Scott and Cyril.
There you go, Cyril of breakfast television notoriety, eh?
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd also like to take a minute just to thank some of our sponsors. Events like this don't happen without your sponsors, and we've had some great ones this year. Town of Kempville and Town of Wolfville and the Village of the Minas all stepped up for us, but also the Old Orchard Inn, Irving, the Kempville and Wolfville Independent Grocers. Those are just some of the sponsors, and we'll go over some more during the game. We'd like to thank everybody, all the volunteers that put their time into this as well.
And of course, the beautiful Kentville Curling Club for hosting, and the Wolfville Curling Club for being a part of this. It's an exciting event to be at.
Yeah, it's a lot of work goes into events like this.
And would you look at that, Conrad? It was 2. It was a score of 2 for Northern Ontario. So we were wrong about that, but that would make it 4-0 Northern Ontario in the second end.
So New Brunswick's got a little work to do now, and I see they've set the corner guard, so they're ready to go to work.
Yeah, that's how you generate points, isn't it?
Yeah. And it looks like Northern Ontario is going to put the heat on them right away. They're going to fill the house with some rocks.
I have a feeling we're in store for a couple of very exciting ends of curling, Conrad, just based on the tempo here. Looks like there's going to be a lot of rocks in play this end.
Well, I think yeah, when you get yourself down by 3 or 4 early on, a lot of times the panic button sets in a little bit, and you have to try to generate some points. But really, looking at the score, they're certainly not out of it. They just have to put a few good ends together and start holding Northern Ontario to 1 or. They just can't waste any ends at this point. They certainly don't want blanks coming on the scoreboard or anything like that. So.
Well, it looks like we got the score up there now. What a great shot! Holy.
Nice
Yeah,
little double.
fantastic. And I think we got it all the way out there. Yes, we do. Look at that. Well, I just I can't say anything around here. As I said, we were gonna have rocks in play, and we don't have rocks in play.
And the rocks are gone. They still have that corner guard up, and they forced Northern Ontario to play rocks on the other side of the house. So, I mean, that's solid strategy.
And another good hit here. Yeah, clean, very good. There we go.
So now New Brunswick can either hit that stone, or they can start taking the rocks around that corner guard. So I think there's a definite game plan going on right now. Looks like New Brunswick's called for the hit again.
Yeah, so maybe more open end than we thought, but that's all right. Again, as you pointed out earlier, New Brunswick is far from out of it. It's only the third end, and lots of opportunity to chip away at that 4-point lead moving forward.
Yeah, and as long as they've hit this rock, if Northern Ontario follows suit and hits this, then that leaves them again. They can continue to hit, or they can go around that corner guard that's sitting there. So there is definitely a good chance to generate a deuce here.
Yeah, another nose hit.
She's checking to see whether hitting that on the nose is going to leave them sitting in the rings. And really, I mean, if they hit this and then Northern Ontario follows down with a hit of their own, then they've got two corner guards all of a sudden.
This is Shawn Stubbert throwing her second rock, I believe. And again, we're seeing kind of straight ice on the inside out here.
Yeah. That's going to roll.
But she's going to have a
though.
Beautiful roll. Looks like it might be a little bit far, but even sitting in front of that blue at the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I think she would have liked to, in an ideal situation, have been behind that corner guard that you can't see it on the TV right now, but that's sort of just in front of the house. Yeah, there we go. She would have ideally liked to be, but boys are boys as another alternative.
You want to be awfully careful running that back.
You're right.
That can easily come off that rock and over into the underneath the corner guarding. Ooh, that's tight. Yeah, she's on that.
So there we go. We got again a bit of an interesting turn of events here. That guard ended up coming in handy. Blue's in, but Red will have an opportunity to hit for two.
Yeah, Blue's sitting shot, but that's how they generate a deuce right there. Is patience. Sometimes you have to be patient in this game. It's hard to do. But patience definitely paid off in this instance.
This one looks like it may be a little bit outside, Conrad. I think she's got a piece.
Yeah, she's got it right.
Yeah, she's got it okay. That really came back at the end. It seemed like it was far out. But
I think they picked a really good weight for that shot. They didn't overthrow it. If you overthrow something like that and it hangs on you, then all of a sudden you lose your rock out of the ring, and then they're just peeling away that back stone.
That's right. So here we go. Looking at another hit again. This is a bit of a tricky shot.
That looks like it's over curling.
I agree. Yeah, there you go. Called off the sweepers. So Red, another break. You know, we're the excitement continues.
Yeah, that just put three in play.
And now, refresh my memory, Conrad. I believe we're playing 8-end games here this weekend. This week, is that right?
Yes.
So we're in the third end, and we're sort of in the back half of the third end now. So we're approaching the halfway mark here in the the 6th draw of the Masters Curling Championship.
If the weight's right on this one, I think they should be sitting 3 at the end of this.
Yeah, this looks okay.
Yeah, came down real nice.
Now, if you're Blue, Conrad, what are you doing here? If you're Northern Ontario, how do you mitigate this?
I was just about to say I think I would do that little hit and roll over on top of that that red in the back 8, and you get a nice roll and you're on top of it. It's awfully hard to remove it, and then you take 3 out of play and you put 2 back.
Well, and the skip that we curl with, or that we curl with this season on our Tuesday nights, we know he's got a bit of a taste for double takeouts. I can tell you, there's a double takeout here that he would just love to have a shot at.
Oh yeah, his mouth would be watering right now.
Well.
Boy.
That's not the outcome I think they wanted there.
No, she overcurled.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something in the release or whether they just caught another spot in that ice where there was a little more curl. Weight looked good. So now they're looking at top 4.
I believe we're into skip stones now, aren't we?
Yeah,
yes.
we are at skip stones. I believe the call is top 4.
Yep, there we go. And so again, Red setting themselves up here for a big end and really to put themselves back in this.
Yeah, they can't let this get away now. They've set up right to skip stones, so it's important to keep that keep shot rock in the middle. So they force Team Northern Ontario to play the stone in the middle, the shot rock.
Yeah.
Sweeper's on it right away.
Yeah. Well, this is a sort of a must-make shot, eh?
Oh, it looks like to me.
It does. We're going to see this. It's looking very light.
It's a must to get a little piece of that ring.
And they've all but given up on it. It's going to be close, but no cigar, as they say.
The problem with leaving that guard there is if they get that nice little hit and roll, then they're drawing for 1. So they've kind of taken 3 off the board if this shot's made.
That's right.
What New Brunswick's got to hope for is a little rollout, because they still could split that rock they just threw. They could split that on for 3. So.
Now, we've seen this curl a lot back into the center line, and I think we're seeing it again here now.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're going to be rolling on the outside. In fact...
I don't think they have a piece.
In fact...
She did get a little piece of it.
Yes, and look, the red will stick around.
So,
and now...
she is looking at that split for 4.
What do you do? So, now, Conrad, what I was going to do is get you to maybe tell the viewers what exactly you mean by that when you say a split.
Well, and I think she's gone away from it, but that rock's close to the ring, so one play might be to come down and just catch a piece of that rock, and both the shot rock, the rock she's thrown, and the guard end up in the ring, so she would end up with 4. But she's decided. Looks like she's decided to.
I was going to
say
for
3.
That's right. Based on the ice here, it looks like they're just going to play it safe.
I think I'd give it a run. I mean, I think the worst that could happen is she'd bump that other rock in and she'd still get 3. Yeah. If she's light by any...
Yeah, and this one looks like it could be light again.
Well, it's close.
Yeah, it's going to be very close to the rings here. And this is the last stone for our 3rd end.
Yeah.
And she's got it.
Looks like 3.
All right, well, what a great end for Team New Brunswick as they storm back, and it is a really tight game now.
Yeah.
4-3, Northern Ontario leading.
They really needed that end to make a game of this. They certainly, like I said, you can battle back in this game as long as you control what's going on in the house and get down 4 early. You'd rather be down 4 early than 4 late. So
That's right. You are right about that. Okay, so here we go. We're into the 4th end. This is we're gonna have a 4th end break coming up after the 4th end here. An opportunity for the teams to regroup, maybe get some advice from the coaches downstairs, and sort of figure out what they're going to do in the second half of this game. We've got one more end coming home.
So this is Helen MacDonald's first rock. Looks like they've called for the center line guard. Weight looks good.
Yeah, it could be. It's going to be tight. I think it's going to be out, but very close to the rings. But that's a great guard. It's exactly what you're looking for if you're Team New Brunswick here. Barb Ward up here for Northern Ontario.
It looks like they're going to play a little aggressive. They're going to come around that center guard that New Brunswick just placed. And again, that's over curling. I think they're going to...
Yeah, we've just seen time and time again coming in this direction on this side of the ice. Just a tremendous amount of curl. And we're going to see that rub again. Yeah, no, both teams have struggled a lot coming this way on that shot, Conrad. It's been a real tricky one.
Yeah, we've seen at least 2 or 3 over curls coming that way on draws. And I think New Brunswick has called for the hit, so I think they're going to play this one pretty open. Hopefully try to force Northern Ontario to 1, or maybe even get lucky and steal one. Very good weight. So Northern Ontario has a choice. They can play off that one and try to get underneath, which is what looks like she's called, or they can hit and stay in the open. Looks like she's.
It's got a long way to go, doesn't it, Conrad?
It does. We'll curl off that line with the right weight, but it looks like it's just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just a tiny rub.
Yeah.
Just a tiny rub. So we're gonna have another opportunity here for New Brunswick.
And they're gonna put another one at the top of the house. They've taken a little more ice this time.
Yeah, no, we've seen. I think we've seen a real momentum shift here over the last end and a half or so, Conrad, between Northern Ontario and New Brunswick. New Brunswick have really picked up their game, and the shot making here has really started to happen.
So the call here, Andrew, is to just to go to the top of the house. I'm sure she wouldn't mind having a little biter, but if it's not in the rings, that's not so bad either. You basically want to control the
front there,
the front. So.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they're going to do, Conrad. They got pretty much the whole 4-foot line, right from the B of Bell Alliant over to the T, all covered up there. So it's a very difficult position to be in when you're Northern Ontario. So they're exploring their opportunities to hit or to clear out some of those rocks.
Yeah, I think at first she was going to call just the straight hit. I think now she's calling the double, and really with enough weight, the triple's there. That's close. Real nice shot.
That is a great shot, eh?
Yeah, and I think that blue's biting too.
Yeah, so
it's real close. So red's still shot, but New Brunswick still shot, and it looks like she's going to try to guard that.
Karen Saarimaki, it's a great recovery for the Northern Ontario team to, sort of get some control back in this end.
Oh, now, I mean, they have control of the front of the house now, which is good for them. And it looks like New Brunswick is going to throw a guard on top of.
Yeah, they're going to just try to protect what they have there.
Yeah. I mean, there's two schools of thought on this. They could just guard this, or they could hit that blue and try to roll in front of their other stone. Looks like she might be a little bit heavy. I'd say she's right back onto the stone.
Yeah, and even a freeze is not the worst kind of shot here.
No, not
that looks exactly what she's got there. Bit of a tap.
That sets up the double. A little further apart than they wanted them, I'm sure. Looks like she's throwing peel weight.
Oh, just a narrow miss there. Of course, Ontario got the one, but they would have liked to have that double.
Yeah, and biggest thing was they rolled out on it. They would. I mean, they could live with that one if they had stuck around in the edge of the 12-foot or gun underneath. But they really would have liked to see this one. And again, they're going to try to throw that guard up and protect what's in the house.
Yeah, so we'll see if we get a little less weight on this one. They were pretty cozy on the last one. Certainly we're going to get the curl. It seems like it's far out now, but
yeah.
wait until it comes back.
I think there's absolutely perfect shot.
It is, yeah. What a great one.
So that makes it tough that they either have to peel that guard or they can attempt to run on their blue, but that's tough angle run. So
yeah, it looks. I would guess just a regular peel here, eh?
I
Maybe
think so, yeah.
We used to call it the bonus of maybe getting a run back here if it's there.
That was a nice little peel. They're being patient and waiting for a mistake, I think. Be interesting to know if that blue at the top of the house is in.
From my perspective, now we're up in the control booth here, Conrad. As far as I could see, I think that front blue is in.
It's very close.
Yeah, but
and that's why. I mean, you can be patient if they believe in. They can be patient and wait for a mistake, because if they get one, then all of a sudden they're hitting for two.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is a very tight end in terms of opportunities. It still has a lot of opportunity to go either way. But,
I actually like the high guard better than I like the.
Yeah. So we'll see how aggressive Northern Ontario wants to be here. They may try to. Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to go after that 4-foot.
I'm pretty sure she's got half that rock. So.
Yeah. The way we've seen this end curl, in this side of the ice curl, that should be no problem.
With the right weight.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Looks like control weight. It's got a bend.
This is Bev's the third stone here, the mate stone coming down. She looks a little on the outside.
That rock came down quick as well.
Yeah. So a narrow miss from Northern Ontario leaves New Brunswick sitting one here.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see them throw the guard again. I mean,
yeah.
It can be a pretty tight guard at this point. We're down to skip stones again, so.
So Isabel Yeamans coming down to throw her first stone in the fourth end here.
And it's a great opportunity for New Brunswick. That rock is, they get another guard up there, and that rock's buried, and there's that leaves only the draw for Northern Ontario. So opportunity.
Yeah, so with New Brunswick sitting one here, they have an opportunity, as things stand, to maybe come into the fourth end tied, which is not a scenario we thought was going to happen an end ago.
Well, down by 4, you hit the panic button, but they've climbed right back in. They've given themselves a chance in this end to score another one. That one's going to overcurl a little bit by the looks of it.
It is. Looks like it may be on that blue a little, but they may still get the roll that they want here.
Actually, they may get a better roll because that blue's going to cover the 4 foot a little bit.
Yes, it is.
There's
go.
The guard they needed.
And Bob's. That is a great shot. That is just a great shot from New Brunswick. And we see Northern Ontario looking, I think, at a straight run back here. Run back peel, trying to get rid of both of those red stones.
Line's good.
There's a lot of weight here, Conrad. So we'll see what happens. What
beauty.
Fantastic shot. There we go. So again, this has been a roller coaster for us up in the control booth because that, we thought that Red had a point sealed up, but no such luck. Northern Ontario not going to lay down on this one. They're now sitting 1. So we'll see what New Brunswick has to do here.
Well, it looks like they're this stone. I would say the only thing you could do with it is pick it out. I'm not sure you can get to the nose of it and stick around. Let's say they have about 1/8 of that rock, maybe as much as a quarter of the rock to hit. So, I mean, with the right weight, but it seems like the house is a little dead tonight. So the rocks aren't exploding out of the house real quick. Yeah, and it looks like she's thrown some.
So this is Isabel Yeamans. This is her last rock of the fourth end. She had a draw there last end, so we'll see what can happen here.
Yeah, that line's perfect. It's a great shot.
Will she stick around?
No, she's gonna roll out. But it's a great shot. I don't think the shot was there to stick around. I don't think you could have thrown. Now,
this is the sort of critical question. Do you play? And is there? I guess there's opportunity. They're looking at the split, Conrad.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's out there. It's out there a little bit for a split, but it's there.
Ambitious, I think, was the word I would use to describe that shot. But, and so what would you be doing here? Would you blank this and try to carry Hammer over into the fifth?
Yeah, I would blank it. But the split's not wrong. I mean, if they score 1, they're still up by 2 at the fourth end break. That's pretty good.
So what we're looking for here is going to throw a little bit of a heavy draw and hope to just get about a quarter or less of the rock.
Boy, and that's close.
And it's going to be close. Looks like she's maybe on it.
I think she's got it.
Look at this.
Gonna stick around in the back?
Folks.
No, she's going to get the one.
Oh, that is heartbreak right there. That was really close.
That was a great shot.
Yeah. A very good attempt, and like you said, it's really not a bad scenario to still pick up your 1 there.
You're up 5-3 at the break. That's pretty good. I'd be pretty happy as a skip at that point.
Yeah. So 5-3 coming into halfway here in the 6th draw of the Canadian Masters Championship here at the Glooscap Curling Club in Kentville.
We'd like to take again thank Bell Alliant for this live feed of this event. You can visit bellalliant.ca/TV1 for the webcast and TV schedule, as well as on-demand content. You can also get information on live events available only to Bell Alliant Fiber Optic in Atlantic Canada on Channel 1 and 401. Bell Alliant, there's more to love with fiber op.
There you go. I think we got a little video clip, like maybe a bit of a highlight reel coming up here. Could be wrong about that. So there we go, and so we're gonna go sort of our 4th end break, and we'll see you back at the start of the 5th end.
Visit novascotia.com/Annapolis Valley. The Annapolis Valley. Simply extraordinary. Visit novascotia.com/Annapolis Valley. The Annapolis Valley. Simply extraordinary. Simply extraordinary. Premium grapes and the warm soil of the Annapolis Valley. We think it's the ultimate wine pairing. Visit novascotia.com/Annapolis Valley.
Welcome back to TV1. We're getting ready to start the fifth end here. The first rock's out.
Are we ever? Here we go. So just a thrilling first four ends, Conrad. We had a very strong start from Northern Ontario and a bit of a New Brunswick comeback there in the third and fourth ends, but at the end of it, Northern Ontario still picked up their extra point. So it is 5-3 starting the fifth end here.
But what a great end played by both teams, and fourth end was really nicely played. New Brunswick certainly had their opportunities. New Brunswick checking to see if that one's in the house, and then now they're going to go right into the house. She's called T.
Yeah, no, you can tell both these teams are getting quite comfortable out on the ice. They certainly, learned from their mistakes in the first end and are really starting to make more and more shots as the game goes on.
Yeah, quite often when you visit new arenas or clubs, what happens is the ice is different than what you experience at your own club. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower, sometimes rocks are a little different. So
it really brings new meaning to new home ice advantage, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. And some teams pick up on it very quickly. Some teams it takes a couple games. These teams definitely look comfortable with the ice.
Well, and as the week goes on, the more draws that they have, the more and more you learn about the ice. But it is a bit a curve for sure.
Absolutely, and it's. I know this is the sixth draw, but these teams may not have played this ice, and every sheet is different. So sometimes you get comfortable on one sheet of ice, and then you move to another, and it's you have to learn a whole new.
And what a draw we have here from Northern Ontario! Fantastic.
Yeah.
A little deep, but sometimes that's necessary to get that curl around the front guard, especially a guard as tight as that.
Yeah.
So
very nice shot.
Yeah, we're gonna see maybe some change of pace here from New Brunswick to adapt to that draw.
Well, it looks like they're throwing up the second corner guard. Normally, that's you throw guard if you're looking for more than 2, 3. Often it's one corner guard, and then they come around. But they're trying to generate multiple points.
Yeah, and this looks like a good guard. Might be a little tight.
I think it's in the house. I think it's...
You are correct, sir. Look at that.
I was
wrong. Boys, that fooled us both. That was a very close one. And a great corner guard, though. That's what you want.
Absolutely. It's tight for a corner guard, but it's definitely usable.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what Northern Ontario does here. She looks like she's coming around again.
Right to the top 4, which is probably what I would do. It's aggressive, but she could definitely start peeling corner guards at this point. But I think she's forcing New Brunswick to start playing to the center, which is what you want to do. You want to hold them to 1 or possibly even steal that point. But holding them to 1, it gives you the opportunity to take the hammer back and hopefully generate your 2.
Yeah, well, I've always felt that, if you have the opportunity of putting them in, if the other team will allow that, they're going to continue to put up guards. You just keep putting them in, and it's never a bad idea to put rocks into play. So.
Yeah, they've got to be in a good spot, though, because if she goes back 4 again, like the last one, it gives the opportunity to build that wall again.
Look at this curl. Look at this curl. And tuck right in there. That's another fantastic shot.
That's a beauty. Yeah, and that's going to force New Brunswick to start peeling those guards away,
exactly.
And so they don't have the opportunity to use those corner guards. Yeah. You could play it so you could hit and roll underneath one of the corners. You could play just off the quarter rock and try to roll underneath one of her corner guards she's already set. And this looks like it's right on the...
Looks pretty much nose, maybe just a little off.
Just a little
that
off,
could be
but it's got
great.
2, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That one's going to stick around.
And behind the other corner guard, that's an unfortunate roll.
That is.
So we'll see what they want to do now.
She's gonna. She's trying to decide whether to mix it up or start peeling guards, and it looks like she's gonna. I think if it were me, I'd start peeling those guards. I don't think I'd mess around with that, because if they miss one shot, and I think they can get to either one of those blue.
So this is Karen Saarimaki and Marion Clark having here, maybe trying to decide what the best call is here. This is sort of a crossroads in terms of the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's if it's personal. It's a personal thing when you're calling a game. It's tough sometimes, but I think the right play is to peel those corner guards, because if she doesn't, for whatever reason, she doesn't come around and make this shot, then you're leaving the house. If she staggers a guard, or you're certainly leaving yourself open to multiple score. And really, what she wants to do at this point, I would think, would be force New Brunswick to 1. You're getting late in the game, you're up by 2. I'm not sure there's any reason to take that chance, but again, it's aggressive, and if the shot's made, which I guess we all play to make our shots.
For sure. Yeah, no, there's you can sort of capitalize on it, and then maybe put some distance. So
yeah,
but we'll see what Karen can do here with her shot.
Yeah, this is definitely a risk-reward, but it looks like a pretty good one.
Again, holy, the curl. They're really starting to see that ice sort of break down a little bit and get some action side to side.
Yeah, real nice curl there. And I think New Brunswick has not much option but to run that back. But again, she runs that back on the nose. She gets probably both of them. Then she's sitting one buried underneath her. And
there's a lot of ifs there.
Well, that's why I talked about the risk you take of going in the house.
Well, that's right. Well, and you got to give Northern Ontario credit for a series of really good shots
to put
themselves in this position. So we'll see what New Brunswick can do here to counter. And a run back, you're right, especially a straight run back would be a really ideal shot.
That's close.
So Shawn Stubbert, and she's going to get
the back one.
Yeah, there you go. Looked for a moment like she might go right through that hole and miss everything.
Yeah, that was close.
But she got one, which is not bad. But New Brunswick still in tough here. 2 rocks, 2 Northern Ontario rocks guarded by 2 New Brunswick rocks.
Yeah, she almost got caught in between on that shot. When it was coming down, you had to make the decision whether you were going to hit those, if you were going to curl enough to get to the nose and hit those rocks in the center, or maybe hit your rock towards that one on the side, because that's not a bad play either. So, it looks like she's coming right back in. This may be light.
It does look a little down. This is Bev Junnila. With the mate stones for Northern Ontario. And it does look like a bit like a center guard. I'm not sure that was the call, was it?
I missed the call, and maybe it was.
It's entirely possible that was the call. Taking into consideration how most rocks have been thrown in that direction. And maybe they're just trying to protect against New Brunswick coming in that way.
But I think the stone's open. I think
that's
you
the
can
thing.
get to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
I'm not even sure the doubles, or not the double, but the hit and roll over on top of that other Northern Ontario stone. And
yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. It started to curl here later in the game.
And don't forget, New Brunswick has those nice tight guards there that they can run into. So there's lots of opportunity still. Shots have to be made, though.
Yeah, so we'll see what Hope Steeves can do, the third for New Brunswick. Her rock going down the... Looks good. It looks like it may be a little tight to that guard, though.
And I think they were going to knock back that.
I think they're going to come nose to it.
I think that's what...
That is going to be not a bad shot, Conrad.
That's really nice.
I believe in the business we call it a Plan B shot.
Yeah.
So, but they'll take it. New Brunswick will absolutely take that.
Sometimes you kind of miss it because they put their brooms down, but you don't really see where they don't really point. Right. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. The weight was certainly right for that shot.
Yeah. And she's calling the guard here, but there are lots of rocks you can use to your advantage here, as New Brunswick, Northern Ontario has to protect now.
So you're hearing curling, a lot of people use the terms like a lot of offensive or defensive play. And certainly what we're seeing here is a lot of offensive play.
Yes.
Because it involves having a lot of rocks in the house and over that hog line. And, geez, it's all right over the face.
That's over curling.
Yeah.
That's going to leave that shot open.
Yeah. So this would definitely be the definition of offensive curling.
This
Lots
is
of
offensive,
rocks.
yes.
This is the kind of curling people tune in to see. But a lot of curlers will play defensive style, which is an open house with very few rocks in play.
To be my style.
That's right, as I'm aware. In case viewers weren't sure, Conrad and I curl on the same Tuesday night league team here at Glooscap Curling Club, so we're quite familiar with each other's preferences in the rink, and certainly Conrad, if he had it his way, would never have a rock in play ever.
That's
I don't
right.
think.
I would win every game 1-0.
Yes, he would. So that's, but certainly what we're seeing here tonight is a really exciting form of curling. Very offensive, lots of draws and low weight shots. So,
well, I like that shot a lot.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't intended, but
So we've got blue at first shot here, right on cozy up to the pin, with red in the 4-foot, blue on the left-hand side of the screen there in the 8-foot, and then red New Brunswick just biting 8-foot. So it's kind of alternating colors here, which means we've got lots of movement here.
and you certainly don't want to over curl with this. So I think as a skip, your tendency might be to take a few more, 3 or 4 more inches of ice, and make sure you at least and make sure you stay out, because you want to be biting that center line. You don't want to. She over curls again, and that's a wide open hook.
On the call here, Conrad, just a center guard?
Yeah, just the center guard.
Yeah, we're just looking to sort of protect that one blue.
Yeah, they're definitely in protect mode. That one missed shot earlier.
This may over curl again. Yeah, I hate to repeat myself here, but the seeing on these sheets later in this game, just incredible. Lots of movement. You see how far out they're taking ice and still getting the rock back to the center.
Yeah, absolutely. That was 4 foot of curl, at least 4.5 probably, that's good curling.
Yeah, and you'll notice you see the ice that they're taking just on the edge of that Northern Ontario blue stone in the 8-foot.
So I would say, I don't know the weight they've called, but with that much ice, it looks like it has to be a fairly like hack or back line.
Yeah.
And I take it they're trying to get to the nose of that red and then bump the blue stone far enough back to sit too.
Yeah, this will be quite the shot, Conrad, if they can make this.
Absolutely. The worst thing that could happen, they could crash on a guard and open it up and Northern Ontario to set that guard again.
Yeah, sometimes we talk about making a shot too early, so we'll see if they make this first of all. But
weight's good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be coming. Oh,
maybe they'll get that plan B tip.
Well, that's okay. Hey, look, a rock in play, so anything can happen there. So now Northern Ontario will have another opportunity, I assume, to guard. Yeah, they will. Yeah. But again, geez, a risky play, because if this over curls like the last one.
See, I'm not sure they can get to the nose of that red stone, though. Not with enough weight to
I think they're just trying to pick out the New Brunswick. I think New Brunswick's just trying to pick out the blue, though.
If they are trying to pick out the blue, they'll only get one out of this. Northern Ontario trying to set this guard again. And it looks good. Little bounce off that stone won't hurt them at all.
Yeah, weight again, perfect for Clark, Marion Clark of Team Northern Ontario. Perfect weight. And this is going to leave New Brunswick with a bit of a tough shot.
And look at all that that granite out front.
This is a nightmare for Conrad.
Yeah, I'd lose my mind. I'd probably quit after this end.
Yeah, you would be not enjoying yourself out there tonight.
I get a little frantic when I see this many stones in play.
So this, I'm having a hard time do you think they're trying to come through that little gateway on the right-hand side?
Well, I think they're trying to pick that stone. I think they're trying to catch enough of that blue stone in the back of the button to get their one at this point.
This again would be a very ambitious shot, I think.
I'm not sure you can throw enough weight to do anything.
No.
I think it looks like...
we'll have to defer to their judgment. I mean, they are the experts here, so...
Yeah.
But
I don't think she has much on. I think
that would be sort of the key.
I think that's...
I think you got an in-off. We can't see it on this camera angle, but you've got an in-off on the left-hand side of the screen there, I think.
Oh, maybe she's trying to drive that other...
The right-hand side, I guess, would be by your view here. Yeah, no, you're not going to get much there. Well, that was a tricky end, but boys, was that exciting.
Yeah, that was a steal of one for Northern Ontario, so they've taken a lead 6-3 after 5 ends.
Yeah.
And now, getting later on in the game, New Brunswick has to put a little more pressure on Northern Ontario, and they have to make their shots. And that's the tricky thing, is when you get down, the shots tend to get harder because there's more... there's certainly more granite in play.
Yeah.
You have to play with that around and take some more chances. So, and chances can come back to get you. But
that's right. Well, I mean, in New Brunswick's goal there, their objective was to put some rocks in play, and that definitely happened. But they've got to work on capitalizing on those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Because they can't have that many rocks in and have that much opportunity and then not come out with a point.
Yeah, I think Northern Ontario just they played it smart once they realized that, because at first they were being very aggressive and coming in the house, but once they realized that...
Almost had a rock in play there in that house. Well, close call there for Northern Ontario. Almost had a rock enter their field of view there. Oh, and then on the other side as well.
So this is Barbara Ward getting set to...
Lots of excitement down there. So yeah, Conrad's right. Barbara Ward delivering her first stone here.
Looks like they're going to take the play right into the house this time. And that may be back of the house. They don't want anything. They don't want anything out front, and they don't want anything at the back of the house.
And it looks like it'll bite right at the back 12.
That's 12.
Not ideal.
Not with a three rock lead and late in the game. You don't want to put anything into play that they can use to their advantage at this point. So you don't want to throw it through, but make your rocks usable for yourself.
And so what's the call here, Conrad? Are they freezing or are they?
No, I believe she pointed to come right into the house.
Yeah, well, there you go.
They're going to the trying to get to the tee line on the.
Interesting strategy. Typically, teams will look at setting up their guards even with a rock in play there, just so they can ensure themselves with that open rock rule. So, but they went kind of for the freeze there. Didn't quite get there, but we'll see how that plays out as the rest of the end comes along.
Yeah, and here's where that rock in the back 12 can come into play. If they overcurl and hit that rock and jam it on the back, then all of a sudden you put 2 into play.
So we've got Northern Ontario coming down the ice here, looking to hit the New Brunswick stone.
And here's the...
Looks good. It might be there's opportunity for jam here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
so.
That's right.
So this may end up being an open end now that they've... oh no, they've called the freeze.
Yeah, well, New Brunswick's still trying to generate those points, and at this stage, in the 6th of 8 ends, definitely still opportunity to do that. But once you get into the 7th and 8th ends with a 3-point lead, Northern Ontario is going to stop leaving anything in play.
Yeah, they're going to get rid of everything they see. Looks like the weight's all there.
Yeah, looks good. Maybe a little outside. They're getting the curl they want.
I don't
Can't see that yet, but here you go. Yeah, it's a little off to the
That's
side.
through the house.
So,
it's just not the curl they expected to get.
yeah.
And maybe a little more. I mean, it was through the house, and they were calling for the freeze. So really, the weight was just a little more than what they wanted. So unfortunate, but we've talked about this ice being a little quicker coming back home, and it's definitely proven to a couple times to be a little tricky for the players.
This is Karen Saaramaki's first. She's the second for Northern Ontario. You may have noticed, I think she's been calling a lot of the shots. And she is throwing second stone. Looks like may not be exactly what they called either.
Yeah, and part of the problem with leaving stones at the back of the house behind the tee line is you can use them to your advantage. She can either freeze down, or she can hit and roll in front of the stone.
So here we have Shawn Stubbert, second for Team New Brunswick. She's from St. John, New Brunswick. And as with the entire New Brunswick women's team, they curl with the Capital Winter Club in New Brunswick. So we've got Shawn's rock coming down. Looks like they're trying to freeze just to this back stone on the center line. And I think she's going to have it.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, maybe a little heavy, but not just about perfect, I think. Yeah, good, very good. So that'll make things a little more interesting for Ontario. We're going to try to run this out, but we get a good opportunity to see a jam here, I think, Conrad.
And it puts two into play real quick. And that's that. It looks like it's fallen away from the center line a little bit, but she's got a good piece of it.
Great shot, and even the shooter's going to roll out to the edge there, which is what Ontario would want. So again, New Brunswick in tough here, trying to freeze, calling the freeze here. Isabel Yeamans generate some more offense, but getting harder and harder here as the end goes on.
Yeah, and there's two opportunities here. You can do that. You can draw for the freeze there, or a nice corner freeze. If they hit that, that should jam on that back blue. The other thing would be to hit and roll over and try to get in front of that other blue in the back of the house. This looks a little heavy again. It's got to come down. Oh, it's coming down nice.
Yeah, not going to be quite the corner freeze they want, but not. I think it might take the blue with it. And if you look carefully, if you hit that red just right, you may actually have it jam on the blue in the other bottom left-hand corner of your screen there.
I think it jams for sure if you hit nose.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see that as we get the next Ontario stone here. Be watching this closely to see what happens.
It seems to be coming over now.
It's on the outside of the rock for sure, which I think will lend to this jam situation. So here we go, but no.
That's a beauty.
It's a great rock. Red may just stick around.
I believe it did.
Yeah, it's hard to see on from the angle that we have here in the booth, but looking down on the ice.
There you go. There's the red.
Thank you.
Stone in the back.
That's a great angle there that we have now.
I definitely think it's biting, and certainly brings two into play. And New Brunswick needs that. They need to get back into this game, and they can't wait too many more ends. They're in the fifth now, and with only 3 ends left to come, and really only 2 ends and a couple rocks, they really have to make these shots and count for them.
So what we have here is another freeze called for New Brunswick. They're going to try to freeze up to the blues on the left of the house. And this is, again, a very critical shot for New Brunswick to see if they can sort of lock down some offense here.
Looks like a nice one.
Yeah, maybe a little up.
Down a little. Oh, it's a beauty.
Yeah, what a great shot, and just when they needed it.
Yeah, those 2 in the back. It's pretty hard to get rid of that red without losing one or both of your your back stones.
Yeah, New Brunswick needed that badly to sort of keep themselves in this end, and that's going to make it difficult for Karen Saarimaki, who you see now, to call this appropriately. And Marion Clark and Karen getting together again to conference about this, and this is what we talked about at the beginning of the game. We discussed a little bit about giving yourself some extra cushion, so that when you were playing this, you could see, extra time towards the end of the game. You want to throw your rocks quickly to generate some extra time for yourself, and these conferences are the ones you want to be able to have now, rather than the first end.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see I can see their shot clock, and you can see they have lots of time left, so they built up time so they can make these decisions, which is whenever you're in a timed game, you definitely want to give yourself the time. You don't want to be rushing your last end when shots can be most important. This looks like it's probably normal takeout weight.
Yeah, pretty big weight. She looks like she's kind of trying to pick it out off to the side here.
Wow, and that would be a great shot, because I think she's going to get the back one too.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was a good
Where
shot.
are we, Conrad? That was a shot.
That was a great shot.
Wow. Wow. What a great shot. And, it just keeps getting harder for New Brunswick.
It looks like another freeze, and I think that's their only real option, with the exception of trying to get out of this end and peeling those away. And line looks good on it. Weight looks good.
Yes, it does look like another good shot. New Brunswick's throwing everything they have here, but it's just been Northern Ontario making shot after shot.
Boy, this is a nice shot, though.
Beauty. Look at this, come right down. So we'll see if Northern Ontario has the ability to pick another one out.
Yeah, they really needed to have a sweeper on that a little earlier and drag that back to the blue stone, I think. But still, pretty hard to get rid of it without. You have to pick it, and you most likely won't stick around with any amount of weight.
So we'll mention it again towards the end of this game, around the end of the 8th end. But we do have the next draw coming up here is tomorrow morning, 11:30 in the a.m., and it is Team Yukon versus Team Saskatchewan in the Women's Masters Canadian Championship. So that's what you can look forward to. The same place, same bat time, same bat place, except 11:30. So look forward to that. But we still got 2 more ends of very exciting curling by the looks of things. So Marion Clark's first stone.
I think she's got it again.
Jeez, yeah.
And she's sticking around. That's a beauty shot.
It is great that she split the house.
Absolutely, going to force a draw here. I mean, the double's not there, so really New Brunswick is forced to draw one.
Yeah, so New Brunswick, the New Brunswick skip Isabel Yeamans has 2 shots here, and so she'll probably try to generate some offense with a freeze here on one of these 2 stones.
Yeah, that's tricky though.
Yeah. Well, it's a final opportunity before eventually she'll be forced to draw, and she will. I mean, I imagine, Conrad, and you tell me what you think here. I think she'll go for the point.
I think you have to. You have to think about taking a point. You're down 2 going into the 7th, and you're playing steal, or force to 1 and get 3. That's either way is pretty tough.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. You got to take your points when you can get them. So at this stage, anyway. Certainly earlier on, you have the opportunity to be picky.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see Conrad's got his timer out. He's going to do a little hog-to-hog time for us, and we can get some advanced statistics going in this game. So the time for hog-to-hog that we're looking for here for this back 12 weight should be around 13.5 seconds. We'll see what it has for us.
It's about 14, so It needs a little help.
Maybe a little bit slow, and it does look that way.
It's going to be shot rock.
Yep. So Northern Ontario will still have to hit it out.
And again, by it being so far over in the house, there's not really any jam. A little overcurl kind of cost them the jam, and not likely to overcurl that much, well, not without a pick. So this should, with the right shot, this is probably going to be a draw against 3.
So this is Marion Clark's final stone for the 6th end coming down. They're sweeping it quite aggressively, so we'll see. We may have a jam.
That's close.
We do have a jam, but it's not enough. They're all going to roll out, so that will leave only one stone, the blue, and Isabel Yeaman for what looks like a draw for her 1. So again, still a high-pressure shot. Isabel's going to want to make this to keep herself in it going into the last 2 ends.
And I'll try to get a time on this stone as well, just to have an idea of where she's at.
And what was that? What was the hog-to-hog time you had last time?
It was 14 seconds. That came back to anywhere in the 13 and a half to.
And you folks at home can do this too. You know, you can get out your stopwatch and time. I'm being ridiculed for suggesting that, but I think that we don't give our viewers enough credit. Certainly, if you're an avid curler, you'd be interested in knowing your hog-to-hog time. So, I suggest you do this at home and see what time you come up with. We'll see what Conrad tells us here.
She's definitely back at the house. It may come to a stop.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Looks like a count of 1 for Northern Ontario.
Northern Ontario up by 4 with two to play. Really puts the pressure on New Brunswick to score in this end, and I would think they would need at least 2, preferably 3. Just to remind viewers, we'd like to thank Bell Alliant. Bell Alliant is proud to be official broadcaster of 2016 Kings County Masters Curling Championships, and they are hosted both in Kentville and Wolfville. Both clubs are holding 2 or 3 draws a day, and you can check on the website to find out a little more, but come down and check it out. There's great curling here, great competitors. Bell Alliant, there's more to love with fiber op.
Barbara Ward starting off the 7th end for us, sorry. And she is from Winnipeg, Manitoba, curling out of the Port Arthur Curling Club, and no stranger to national competition. She's got 2008, 2009, and 2011 appearances in the Senior Curling Championships, and then 2012, 13, and 14 in the Masters Curling Championship. So lots of experience for Barbara Ward coming into this.
Okay, and she's chose to draw to the 4 foot.
But Conrad, doesn't the scoreboard say it all, really? You look down, and next time the camera shot looks at the scoreboard, those 3 points, the score maybe looks closer than the game has gone. It really has dominated end by end in terms of this game. Yeah,
and with the exception of the 3rd and 4th, on which I thought New Brunswick actually played very well. And I actually think the 5th end they had a very, very good chance to get multiple score, but they've definitely dug themselves a little bit of hole. Playing into the house like this, and especially to the back of the house, it allows New Brunswick or Northern Ontario to run those stones. And the less stones they have to use to score with, the harder it's going to be to generate 4.
Well, that's it, yeah.
In 4, and that I would think you'd need 2 or 3 in this end, and then another 3 to win it after that, or 2 to win it after that. Well, they got a little jam there, so.
Yeah. So early on here again, we talked about offensive play versus defensive play, and this is another great example offensive play. So what New Brunswick has done is they tried to set up a freeze early on to that Northern Ontario stone. They were successful, and when Northern Ontario attempted to remove it, they created a jam, which has now opened up an opportunity for New Brunswick to hit for 2. They may freeze. Looks like they're calling the freeze.
They're calling the freeze. I think I like the first call is to hit, and I would hit and preferably roll to the outside of the house. It virtually, barring a miss, guarantees your 2. If she makes the freeze, I just don't know if the double off those 2 rocks is there. Or
yeah, well, we'll see what happens here. As
stone looks good.
Yeah, that's right. Helen MacDonald's stone comes down.
There's a nice beauty curl at the very end.
But it might be just a bit of a rub there and not on top like she would want to be.
Yeah, and I think that sets up the double.
It does, and that's an unfortunate break for New Brunswick again. Maybe the story of the game here, Conrad, just missing out on those little breaks to convert into points.
Yeah, and I mean, she missed that shot by an inch, but this is a game of inches. And sometimes you're on the wrong side of the inch, and I think that's the story for New Brunswick, is that they've just been on the wrong side.
I mean, we think back to that beginning of the game there with the measurement in the second end?
Second end, yes.
And, it could have gone either way. And so here we are, Northern Ontario freezing on top of the New Brunswick stone. And Northern Ontario sitting 1 and also sitting the 3rd shot. So New Brunswick generating even more offense. Trying. We're gonna. I feel like a broken record here, Conrad, but we're seeing a lot of the same kinds of shots here from New Brunswick, just trying to generate some offense. So Shawn Stubbert throwing second stone for New Brunswick. She's from St. John, New Brunswick, and the whole curls at a Capital Winter Curling Club. Shawn Stubbert, no stranger. She's done 2005 and 2006 Canadian Senior Curling Championships appearances, as well as now in 2016.
It looks to be just a tiny bit light.
It is short, yeah.
She's unfortunately thrown a guard on that, but I think they're going to... Well, at first I thought they were going to run that guard, but she's calling them into the house again. She's played a very aggressive game that way, forcing them to make shots, and it's worked so far, so I guess...
Yeah, you have to give Team Northern Ontario credit for how aggressive they've been.
Looks like a good line on this one, although it's curling. That's right back onto the other 2.
Yeah, what a turn.
Wow.
So a break for New Brunswick here as they try to generate some offense. They have stone in the 4-foot with a Northern Ontario guard protecting them. So anything can happen, Conrad. And again, we talked about it, but a 4-point difference, even at this stage of the game, is not insurmountable.
No, absolutely not.
So a few misses or a few changed opportunities, and anything can happen.
Yeah, I've given up 5 myself to lose a game.
I think I was playing with you that game.
Yeah, you may have been.
Oh, we have a timeout on the ice for Ice 3. This is an exciting development in our game.
I think they're trying to decide between freezing down onto that and setting 1 to the top 4. I like the freeze.
Down to the open blue. Is that what you mean?
Well, they could go to the open blue, but I think you had freeze right down to my red. It's almost frozen on their blue right now.
Yeah, well, that's certainly an opportunity.
If you freeze it on the right angle, it's awfully hard to remove one, let alone both. And if it's on the right angle, it may even come off their red and onto that blue that they're pointing at right now. So that's a tough call. It's
first time out of the game, Conrad. It's interesting. I guess certainly the pressure's on at this stage for New Brunswick.
And this is the time of the game where, they're down 4. They have to make this decision. They have to, and it has to be the right one for them. At this point, they're up against it a little bit, so they're going to make Going to make a call for a freeze on the blue at the back of the 4.
So Shawn and Isabel seem satisfied with the call here. It looks like they're going to freeze to the blue.
That looked like the call to me. I would leave them sitting 1, and I think a perfect freeze might give them second shot. Yeah, it should be 1 and 2 after this. Yeah.
So here we maybe get a time here. And again, we're looking for maybe about a 14-second rock. So we'll fill you in, or if you're at home using your stopwatch, you can follow along with us here. But we're timing this, and we're going to let you know what we get here at the other hog line.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. I had 14-2 for that,
I
Conrad?
had 14-1-1, so that's...
and would you look at that? Oh, just a little short.
That's still in a great spot, though.
Yeah.
It's a very usable rock, and something they have to address. And it could jam.
That's exactly it. A jam is what you're looking for here, I think. New Brunswick could take any chance they can.
Absolutely. And this is decision time for Northern Ontario, really. I mean, if they slash that rock, it could end up on those 2 on the 4-foot. If they slash it really thin, they may be able to get both those rocks off the back of the 4, the red and the blue.
So we have Marion Clark and Karen Saarimaki of Northern Ontario discussing the call here as Marion comes back down to take her shot.
And I think the call was to take that out and roll in underneath the blue guard. So I would assume she's probably only throwing maybe, well, with that much ice, I would say control heavy board.
Yeah. And now you and I with some experience curling here, I would say this is a tricky shot because it doesn't always curl as much as you think it does down this path. So we'll see what happens.
It can definitely overcurl as well. Quite a bit.
It does. I think I'm wrong on this one. So we'll see. She's looks all the way to the other side of it.
Yeah, I think she's jammed though.
Okay, well, hey, look at that.
It worked out all right. You get back to that red stone. I mean, they able to sit 3 at the end of this if they wanted to.
Now, I was going to talk to you, Conrad, a little bit about Marion Clark and Karen Saarimaki and sort of the interesting connection there, because typically you see the person throwing 3rd stone calling a line for the. Usually the mate is the person in the house calling line for the skip stones, but here we see Karen the 2nd doing that, and sometimes that happens just if a team feels that a certain person on the team is maybe is more inclined towards that kind of thing, or maybe is better at it than the rest of the team. That's oftentimes a better strategy. That's something that happens.
Sometimes it's about the line caller themselves. Sometimes it's about the sweepers, because you want your strongest sweepers sweeping the skip rocks. That looks like it was a little heavy.
Yeah, bit of a miss there.
Yeah, and that's a tough miss. Again, they've left up top, and sometimes that can come back to get you, but it's worked out fine for them. The odd miss from New Brunswick and Northern Ontario looks like they're sitting nicely here if they set this into the top 4.
This is Bev Junnila of Northern Ontario throwing 3rd stones. Looking to come right in on top of that red in the 4-foot.
Boy, that looks like it's curling a lot.
Down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just at the top 12, maybe not as far as they wanted it. But realistically, at this point, Northern Ontario can afford to throw up a few guards and give one away. New Brunswick's going to need more than one here to really keep themselves in it.
But that blue stone at the top still leaves that little hit and roll underneath. which now they have a stagger, or they could come around and just bump that that red stone at the top, at the back of the 4. And
that looks like the call, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like she's freezing to that red, but
now Conrad, stop me if you disagree, but I think you're leaning towards the hit and roll.
I wouldn't go the hit and roll. I'd actually throw a little more weight at this, I think, and try to bump that blue back a little bit. Back 8 weight. They're getting lots of curl on this side of the ice, so I think I'd take advantage of that and see if I could throw back 8. And
I thought you were speaking so favorably about the hit and roll that maybe that was the shot you'd call, but
I don't like this shot. I wouldn't call this angle freeze, because if it angles too much, then they're going to pick that off, and I think the New Brunswick takes the chance of losing their shot rock.
So here we have Hope Steeves throwing third stones for New Brunswick. Coming down, looks a little on the light side, and inside, yes, we've got a guard situation here from Hope Steeves. Certainly not what New Brunswick was looking for, I don't think.
They've set a guard on a rock they didn't want to set a guard on. Actually, I'd like the peel of the 2 guards up top for New Brunswick better than I like that. But obviously that wasn't their intention. Their intention was to get into the top 4.
So Marion Clark now will throw for Northern Ontario. We have, I believe, this is her first stone. Yep. So Marion Clark will attempt to draw. It looks to me like she's going to come foot or attempt to come right into the 4 foot.
Yeah, and they've taken a lot more ice than New Brunswick did for the same shot.
And again, noteworthy the amount of ice that Karen Saarimaki is holding for Marion Clark. Again, we talked about how much swing there is in this ice, and end after end, as the game goes on, the ice is swinging more and more. So interesting to see her broom is.
I've known Marion. I've noticed Marion's getting a lot more curl than some of the other. That may be attributed to release. It may be that she's actually taking that. But this was the call.
Look at that curl! Holy smokes! And what a shot! Wow. So it may not be shot rock, but let me tell you, that was a great shot. Even just to get down on top of that red.
I don't think you can get to it in this now.
You know, just to cut New Brunswick down to 1, that is certainly some insurance. But we see Isabel Yeamans looking at this in-off, or the difficult shot here.
It is difficult. And even if she makes it, depending on the weight, it's hard to stick that shooter. It's thin.
Yeah, so the idea here, I wish I had my marker here so we could just draw on for the viewers what we want to do, but if you see that rock right where they're holding, where Hope Steeves is holding the broom, we'd like to hit the inside, the left side of that stone, just really thin, so and hit the blue on the top of the 4 foot there. So that would be the shot that they're calling. We'll see if it materializes or not.
And really, even if you graze that, take it over the top of that shot stone, it should jam on the blue, and you know what? She could bring 3 into play with a really nice one.
It's going to require a lot of weight, so we'll see what happens here.
She's taking a lot of ice, so I don't know. I think she's throwing. Ooh, that's close. Yeah, I think she has to go on that.
Yeah, I think we're going to actually over curl and not even see the inside of that rock.
No.
Yeah, looks like she's on the guard.
I think she was tight on the broom right off.
Yeah. Again, we've seen this curl to the center line there, and we saw it again with Isabel's shot. Like a tough break for Isabel and the New Brunswick team.
So they're going to set another guard up there and take that shot away, because it's there. It's tough, but it's there. So Northern Ontario will take this shot away and force New Brunswick into 1, and then it's awfully tough. Down 3, coming home without hammer. Although again, I've lost a few games.
Yes, haven't we all? You know, and that's the thing about curling. As long as it's within 8 points, anything can happen. So you'd be surprised, you know, especially with unpredictable curl like some of the shots we've seen tonight.
Absolutely.
Seems to be some discussion going on with the Northern Ontario team there. They've settled on what they're doing, and Marion Clark's setting up for her final shot of the 7th end.
Yeah, and she really has to set this guard. It's quite important to get it in the right spot. I don't think she can take both shots away, but would take that. I think I'd take that raise or that double away. She looks a little heavy. Oh, Marion Clark's come right into the house and
the 4-foot, but you know, very close again, but just maybe not what she wanted to do.
And I think, is the draw there for...
Yes, I imagine it is, but that is... You want to talk about difficult shots, Conrad. That is a tough, tough shot.
Hey, when you're the skip, you're supposed to be able to draw to the butt. That's what they tell me anyway. That's why I'm not the skip most of the time.
Yes, we had difficulty with that on our Tuesday night league, didn't we?
Yeah. Our skip may have missed a few draws from the button, but...
we won't hold it against him.
Yeah.
We may passively aggressively mention it in a Masters broadcast, but we won't. So.
That's right. As long as he's tuned in and he understands we know.
Yeah, that's right. So here we go. Fairly significant shot here for New Brunswick.
So I think she is playing the draw here.
I don't.
Well, no. Now that I see it out of her hand,
I don't think that's a draw. Looks a little on the outside.
I don't know. I think I'd sweep that by.
Yeah.
Make sure it's not touching that rock. Perfect.
So, as far as we can tell, it's going to be a pick up of 1 for New Brunswick, which is going to make it a tough final end coming back for New Brunswick. But like as we've said all along, anything can happen. It's not that
impossible. Now rocks in play are definitely New Brunswick's friends.
We've seen. Sorry to interrupt. We've seen both of these teams, play a fairly offensive style, which means we can expect rocks to be in play right through to the final stone here. Some teams would make it very difficult to score 3, but New Brunswick may have an opportunity here with the playing style of Northern Ontario facilitating it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think as the with a 3-point lead, I think you'll see Northern Ontario throw a few rocks through, but maybe not. They've been aggressive. Here's the first stone in the 8th end. Looks like it has lots on it. And that's definitely in the house. That'd be top 4.
Yeah, it looks even a little bit back.
Back 8.
This is that downhill effect we were talking about. Yeah. We've seen curlers get a pretty good handle on this ice as the game has gone on, but coming back towards the glass, we see typically the ice is a little bit faster, and it looks at again on that first throw there.
Yeah, quite often the rocks we find playing in this club that they glide a little. They'll glide forever coming this way, or it seems like it.
Now, the other thing, Conrad, we should probably be on the lookout for is the breakdown of the ice as this end goes on. This is the 8th end, and as the game goes on, typically the ice will sort of, I guess the expression people commonly use is fudge up.
Yeah. So
it's kind of slow down a little bit instead of speed. As the game goes on, usually it speeds up, but by the 8th end, it starts to slow down a little bit again, and sort of a thicken up. The pebble gets broken down. So we'll look for that to happen towards the end of this end.
Well, it can get a little unpredictable at this point in the game. You can hit spots that throw the stones off, and looks like she's freezing down to the back stone. And the weight
looks very
perfect.
Good. Yeah.
Looks like it needs to be swept.
Yeah, there you go. But not bad. So we'll New Brunswick will look for a jam here.
And again, getting back to the face of that, I think it's more important. Playing for the jam is that's playing for luck, and
Yeah, it looks like they may actually have a bit of overcurl here, Conrad.
Yeah, I think they did.
And wow, what a break for New Brunswick. This is how you set up a 3-point end as far as New Brunswick's concerned, so we'll see if they can capitalize.
Well, when you're down 3 without hammer, you need misses, and that's a good start, but I think they need guards. I think I'd ignore that blue rock and throw up a guard. It's a little tiny bit heavy.
See, New Brunswick and Northern Ontario teams have Conrad and I on our feet here up in the studio. We're just riveted as we come into the end of this game. And again, I would have expected a hit there, but the Northern Ontario, the aggressive play knows no bounds. I continue to be surprised by the choice to freeze. And not that it's a bad one, but they're going to generate their opportunities.
Brunswick has to keep rocks in play, and so choosing to freeze on that, I think they either set a guard or they have to have that freeze, and it has to be pretty good. I think the Northern Ontario with good normal weight could take both of those stones out and possibly lose their shooter as well, which is good for them. If they can lose as many stones as possible, they don't want anything to play at this point. The
ideal scenario for Karen, who's throwing right now, is to remove both her shooter here and the 2 stones that she's hitting. They'd like to see them all go.
That looks like a jam.
Lots of weight here. Does look like a jam, and that is again working towards New Brunswick. We're going to have a thrilling Conrad. So. Yeah, and so Isabel Yeamans calling the top 12 shot here, trying to spread out her rocks.
Yeah, I think she has to protect that back stone. I think this has to touch the house, though. Top 12.
You would be right about that. We've got to see something here. Looks a little bit up.
Yeah, it looks like back 4.
Yeah, you really can't wind these up, and that's exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, the double's there for sure. And the best thing that could happen for New Brunswick here would be a little hit and roll off. So they've taken the other side of the stone now, and I think they realize that roll off, they still leave 2 in play, and this looks like it's curling a lot as well. They get the top stone, but I think they're going to roll over top.
No, it might let it. Oh, yeah, it's out.
They got enough of it.
Tough break for New Brunswick. They thought maybe they'd have a chance there. Isabel's going to try to set another one up front.
They have 1 in the house, and they have 4 stones to come, so they have to make some of these count.
Yes, this is the final countdown, as they would say.
Yeah, they gotta hope for a break here.
Yeah, we're counting the rocks. Northern Ontario is going to be keeping track of everything. And at this point, you can imagine Northern Ontario won't let many New Brunswick rocks stick around.
They gotta have a piece of the. There, that's a beauty.
Yeah, that's a great shot. So New Brunswick's still going to need a miss here or a. So here we have the mate for Northern Ontario getting ready to throw. Junnila, born in Port Arthur, Ontario, currently out of Port Arthur, Ontario Curling Club, and just an incredible amount of experience. Has been at the Canadian Masters Curling Championship in 2012, 13, 14, and 15. This looks like a pretty standard hit coming down just about on nose. No problem for Bev. almost with the double.
They wanted to get a piece of that back rock. They've left a garden play for.
And look at that. New Brunswick's getting aggressive here, trying to place something in behind.
So checking the standings, this if Northern Ontario holds on, they'd go to 2-2, and New Brunswick could actually this would be their first loss so far this week. They were 3-0 coming into this, so this is a big game for Northern Ontario. This keeps them in the hunt and
brings New Brunswick back down to earth a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. That's got to come down. Looks nice. Just no curl there.
Yeah.
She's got on that center line and stayed straight, but.
So New Brunswick still looking for a miss here. Going to need some Ontario in order to generate enough points to get a draw and force an extra end.
This. Has a good piece of this. So we're down to the last 2 stones for New Brunswick. That means they have to make everything count. And I don't know if I'd like to stick around on that. I think would have liked to have rolled away. And so right now that gives New Brunswick the little hit and roll under the guard. And then New Brunswick has to make that open hit.
So for New Brunswick, we have the first of Isabel Yeamans' 2 skip stones. We are winding things down, and this is a pretty critical shot with only 1 rock in play for New Brunswick. If Isabel does not stick around here, that will be the end of the game.
So this is a definite must. This shot has to be good. Line's good on it.
Yeah, line looks great. Weight looks good. It's going to come over a little bit.
Ideally, she'd like to get a little hit and roll underneath, but...
don't think she's going to roll away.
No,
by looks of things.
Away, but
also okay. But Isabel's going to need a miss here, like a big miss from Northern Ontario to stay alive here.
While they get set to take a shot, I'd like to thank a few more sponsors. The Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce, Kemple Toyota, Big Falls Fish Growers, Cornwallis Motors, the Eakin Timber Company, Forbes. We'd like to thank everybody for contributing to make this possible. This is, like I said earlier on in the game, this is a big undertaking, and we've really enjoyed setting up and having all these people from across the country here to play here in Nova Scotia and to enjoy what we get to enjoy sometimes 3-4 times a week. We get to, some of us play, so.
Not all of us are as lucky as you, Conrad.
Yeah, sometimes I play more.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have the cooperation of the Glooscap and Wolfville clubs and the County of Kings here in Nova Scotia to make all this possible. And looking forward, looking ahead here, I know we have the next draw is 11:30 tomorrow morning, Yukon versus Saskatchewan in the Masters Canadian Championship. And this could be the game right here, so I'll pause.
I think she's got this. So it's just big one go away and the game's over.
Either one will do, and we may have a double. We do have a double. That is decisive, so that will be the game.
That was a beauty.
That was a great shot from Marion Clark to close it out. So there you go. So I guess the summary of the game here, we had a great, strong start from Northern Ontario. We did see a bit of a comeback in the 3rd and 4th ends from New Brunswick. Ontario just staying strong, and New Brunswick not getting the breaks maybe that they would have liked to have. A few missed shots each end, resulting in a series of points given up.
Yeah, and Northern Ontario never really took the. They put the pedal down and they went after it the whole game, and you gotta appreciate that style because it's not easy to play.
So looking ahead again, as I was saying before that last shot, we have an 11:30 draw, Yukon versus Saskatchewan, the women's game tomorrow. After that, Conrad, I know, will be back calling a game on Thursday night.
Yes, Jim Noonan's tomorrow. I believe Jim Noonan does the 11:30 game tomorrow morning.
And Conrad and I, maybe aside, I'd like to maybe just take a quick moment to point out how great the commentary was this afternoon. And so when you're tuning in, you might not always be stuck with Conrad and I, but it's been great so far. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been excellent coverage. I've been sneaking peeks at work. Now my boss has probably heard that, but that's okay.
So anyway,
I'll turn my monitor away tomorrow.
Conrad will be back on Thursday, and I think Conrad and I will both be back Friday night. So tune in again frequently, and we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in to Bell Alliance coverage. Be sure to join Bell Alliance TV1's own Scott Squires as he chats with Cyril Lunny each Monday at 8:40 a.m. on the Sideline Scoop. So thanks again, Bell Alliance. And we'll see you at 11:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Have a good evening.